All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive with me. Today we're going to be looking at the true cost of cheap cold calling.
Yeah.
And I actually got the idea for this one from one of you guys who sent over this article, The Hidden Cost of Cheap Cold Calling. And
Good title.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is, and I was reading through it, and sometimes you just get an article and it's like, oh, this is just going to be the same old stuff we've all heard before.
Right.
But this one had some really interesting points, and just the whole idea that, like, when you're thinking about lead generation,
Mm-hmm.
we talk a lot about marketing spend and trying to
Keep that number low.
keep it low, yeah.
Yeah.
And how much are we spending per lead and all that. But then this one really took it to the next level and was talking about, like, okay, but how much are you actually spending to close a deal?
Yeah.
And what is it costing you
Yeah.
when you're using these, like, really budget-focused
Right.
cold calling strategies?
Uh-huh.
So I thought it'd be a good one to really dig into.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea. And, the thing that really struck me about this article was just how much emphasis they put on not just the immediate financial cost,
Yeah.
but the long-term damage that cheap cold calling can do to your reputation.
Yeah, that was a good point. And it was interesting because, obviously, like, if you hire, a bad agency or something like that, or you're just not doing your due diligence, and you get some really bad cold callers who are ruining deals for you, like, yeah, obviously that's going to cost you money, but how do you even, like, quantify that?
Right. How do you put a dollar amount
Yeah.
on a bad review or a negative interaction?
Yeah, like, what's the cost of, like, somebody going on social media and being like,
Exactly.
this company's terrible?
Yeah, and it might not be like a huge immediate hit to your bottom line,
Yeah.
but it's that kind of slow burn,
Fair.
It's the erosion of trust over time that can really add up.
And they had this visual in there that I don't know if it was a little over the top, but they were talking about, like, cheap cold callers are basically like setting your leads on fire. Like,
Yeah.
you're just burning through all your potential customers, and
Yeah, I mean, it's a strong image for sure,
it is.
but it does get the point across.
It does.
You're spending all this money to generate these leads, and then if you're not handling them properly,
Right.
they're just going up in smoke.
Yeah.
And that's where the whole idea of quality over quantity comes in.
Right. And that's where they started talking about, the math of it all, and how,
Yeah.
Even though it seems like you're spending more money up front to get these, like, really good professional callers,
Yeah.
you actually end up saving money in the long run because their conversion rates are so much higher.
Exactly. And I think that's something that a lot of businesses overlook. They get so focused on that initial cost per lead that they don't think about the lifetime value of a customer, or the fact that a skilled caller can actually turn that lead spending into a revenue generator.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'm totally getting this now. And it's really making me think about, like, our own approach
Mm-hmm.
to cold calling. But, you're listening to this and you're like, okay, you've convinced me budget cold calling is not the way to go.
Right.
What do I do?
Well, I mean, the first thing is to really understand what you're looking for in a professional caller,
Okay.
right? So you need to think about their experience in your industry, their track record of success,
Mm-hmm.
and their understanding of your specific business goals. You don't just want someone who's good at dialing numbers. You want someone who can actually have meaningful conversations with
Yeah.
your prospects and build rapport and really understand their needs.
How do you even find those people?
Well, there are a few key things you can look for. One is specialization.
Okay.
So, if you're in a niche industry, make sure you're finding callers who have experience in that specific area.
Right.
And then you want to look at their track record,
Mhm.
ask for case studies or testimonials,
Yeah.
check out their online reviews.
Makes sense.
And then finally, you want to make sure that they understand your business goals.
Okay.
Sit down with them and really talk about what you're hoping to achieve with your cold calling campaign.
So this whole conversation has really made me think about, like, we were talking about earlier, how much emphasis they put on the long-term cost of doing this wrong.
Yeah.
What is the real cost of, not only losing that initial money, but also, like, all the potential future revenue from that customer if they had closed?
Exactly.
And like you were talking about, the damage to your reputation. So that's what I really want you guys to think about, as you're going through this process of deciding on a cold calling strategy. What is the real cost of, saving a few bucks up front versus investing in a high quality solution?
Right. It's like the old saying, you get what you pay for.
Absolutely. And, I think it's easy to get caught up in the short-term thinking, but when it comes to something as important as your sales process,
Right.
you really need to be playing the long game.
Yeah.
So that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Hope you found it helpful, and be sure to tune in next time for more insights and discussions. All right, thanks for listening.
Bye, everybody.